Hi, my name is Thompson with Crop Reviews, and this is the conclusion of 3 weeks using the LG G2 as my daily driver. This is the LG G2 review. LG G2 is the follow-up device of the Optimus G, a device that was received well by both reviewers and the people who bought the device. But the reputation LG had accumulated over the time, especially with the Optimus 2X, held the device back in the mainstream mindset. But with the device being the basis for the Nexus 4, LG was noticed for their ability to make great hardware at great prices. The software side is another matter altogether though. LG doesn't have a great reputation for developing software and is usually seen as tacky and immature. LG is often seen as copying the market leader Samsung. This however is not entirely true, as they both innovate different features and the other implement it in their suite of software. There's also a cultural gap that is important to classify here. Where we in the West don't like the idea of companies copying other companies, this is a more acceptable situation in South Korea. It might be the same cultural difference that is the source of the general feeling about LG software in the West. But enough about reputation on older devices. We're here for the G2, LG's new flagship. LG has dropped the Optimus name from the series, which might be to distance itself from the first Optimus device and start anew. LG has always been a first mover in the hardware business, and they were the first to deliver a dual-core phone with the Optimus 2X and the first to deliver a quad-core phone with the Optimus G. This time around they are the first to deliver a phone with the Snapdragon 800, and the first with a 13 megapixel camera with optical image stabilization. There are two striking points of the G2's design: the big edge-to-edge 5.2-inch display and the placement of the buttons on the back. Even though the phone has a big 5.2-inch screen, it's only a little bit bigger than the Optimus G, which only had a 4.7 screen. This is thanks to a new way of manufacturing that LG calls dual routing. What LG has done with dual routing is placing a connector in both the bottom and the top that each connect to their half of the touch sensors, that way reducing the total width needed for routing to the connectors. The screen is placed inside a plastic shell with rounded edges. There is a little metallic band that goes around the entire device and split the front and back of the device. The back panel has a pattern that goes diagonally across the back and gives it a bit of life to the back of the device. The thickness reduces as you get closer to the edge, and this rounding off at the sides makes it fit nicely inside your hand. And luckily the quick window case that LG sells as an accessory to this device follows the same design language. Even with the case on the device, it feels good in hand, and it pretty much looks all the same, it's just thicker. The plastic build does give a little when twisted, and there's also a little creaking, but the build generally feels good and sturdy in normal use. The 1080 by 920 resolution of the 5.2 panel calculates into 423 pixels per inch. This is an amazing pixel density, and the result is a very smooth image on the display. The display delivers a bright, sharp and color accurate experience, and is pretty much everything you would want in a smartphone's display. The screen is an absolute joy to read on, and the viewing angles are great, so the colors won't wash out when viewing at a off-center angle. The screen also performs great in direct sunlight. Text and images are easily read despite the light from the sun. This is without a doubt the best smartphone screen that I have had the pleasure of testing. The feature that I use most on the device is the knock-on feature. This feature allows you to turn on the device by tapping 2 times on the screen. I've been told the feature works best by tapping in the upper center of the screen. This might be true, but I haven't noticed any difference in performance. At first this feature might seem undone and broken, as it does take a bit of getting used to. There is a sweet spot for the timing, and the taps should be fairly close to the same place, but after some time you get the hang of it, and if you're anything like me, you'll fall in love with this feature absolutely. Another feature that might take some time getting used to is the placement of the power and volume buttons. These are placed on the back of the device, right under the camera. The first time I heard about this, I thought LG was going crazy, but after the first couple of days, I have to say I actually really like it, and it's a very comfortable placement indeed. The third feature to truly set this device apart from others are the inclusion of optical image stabilization with the camera. This greatly increases the performance of the camera both in low light and normal usage. The images that this device delivers is some of the best I've ever seen on a smartphone, and in my case this will now be my go-to point and shoot camera. The device has some amazing internals that are really top of the line. The device comes with the Snapdragon 800 quad-core processor, 2 gigs of RAM and a 5.2-inch Full HD display. The camera is 13 megapixel with optical image stabilization, and the battery has a massive 3000 mAh capacity. The operating system is Android Jelly Bean 4.2.2, and the storage options are either 16GB or 32GB. As mentioned before, LG does not have the best reputation for developing software. They have, as most manufacturers for Android, seen fit to develop their own layer of software on top of Android. The version aboard the device is Android 4.2.2 with a heavily customized Optimus UI, or whatever they call it, on top. The general style of LG's UI is more colorful and full of effects like gradient and bevels. The tone has a hard time falling into my liking, but it's not as if I can't stand it, it just doesn't fit my taste. I generally find it a bit tacky and childish. I wish LG would give third-party access to develop themes for the G2, as they only deliver 2 themes with the device. But with all that said, it is possible to do a lot of customization and alter the look and feel of the device. If you have the time and patience for it, you can change every icon on the home screen. It is also possible to change the layout of the on-screen system keys. There can also be added one of 2 buttons, either a quick memo shortcut or a notification drawer pull-down button. There's a great deal of customization possible on this device, and I love that. It gives the opportunity for everyone to customize the operating system without messing about with third-party launchers or custom ROMs. With the internals that this device rocks, you will expect it to just fly around without any hesitation, and that is exactly what it does. This device just eats everything you throw at it, and it always looks like it could take a snack more. I've tried loads of different games, I have yet to find anything that caused lag or stutter. This thing is an absolute beast. The speaker, however, leaves something to want. It's a bit tinny and lacks some of the middle tones and even more bass. The headphones, the Quad B2 included with the device, is miles better than the first attempt, the Quad B1. I've been using them happily in the 3 weeks of testing of this device. I would still like some more depth and bass in the sound, but generally they are great for OEM headphones. The call quality of the G2 is great, especially thanks to the HD voice technology. The battery life of the device is amazing. I usually have a good 30% left of the end of the day. It's absolutely lovely to have a device where you don't have to concern yourself about if the phone will last out the day, because it will. The device has a great sleep mode that uses up almost no power at all. This is then paired with the notification LED, which means you don't have to wake up the device in order to see if any notification has arrived. If the device is left in the sleep mode with only minimum usage, I've managed to get 3 days on one charge out of this device. As a conclusion, the LG G2 is a worthy successor of the Optimus G with the top of line specifications. Even with these powerful internals, the device still manages to have the best battery I have ever experienced on a smartphone. It's the same story with the 13 megapixel camera with optical image stabilization. It's also the best camera I've ever experienced on a smartphone. The screen is beautiful, sharp, shows color accurate, and is crammed into an unreasonable small body to fit the 5.2-inch screen. The most differential features of this device is the big screen to front ratio, the knock-on feature which allows you to turn on the device by tapping the screen, buttons on the back, and the optical image stabilization. All of these works really well and are all contributors to make this one of the best smartphones that you can buy at the moment. The only thing holding this phone back, in my opinion, is the software, which at times feels tacky and have a small tendency with translation errors. This can be dealt with by using a third-party launcher. If you have a lot of time, you can also change the icon by using the various customization options that LG has provided. But I would suggest using a third-party launcher. All in all, it's a great phone with minor flaws that are easily corrected, but still that cost points. I end up giving this phone a 9 out of 10. Thank you for watching my review of the LG G2. If you have any questions or comments about this device, feel free to leave them down there right below that like button. This has been all for me. I'm Thompson with Crowd Reviews. Have a great day.